Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. The takeoff has been completed and the ship is ready to enter sublight speed. Hearing this sentence, Su-yen couldn't help but look at DG next to him. She was clearly standing in front of her without making any movement. But the ship was able to operate automatically according to her mind, and Su-yen felt a little idle for a while. After all, the work of the ship taking off was controlled by him. But after having DG, he can let the ship take off directly without controlling the ship. In this case, he would save a lot of effort. Su-yen leaned back. He had never felt so relaxed. The existence of Jianyang saved him a lot of things, and when he was free for a while, Su-yen didn't know what to do. The Nar galaxy where the Bartom tribe is located, they need to pass through the Cold Frost galaxy before they can reach the Nar galaxy. Captain, I have set the sailing route. According to the information I have collected, the location of the Bartom nomadic tribe is now in the NAR system. The closest route from us to the NAR galaxy is the Cold Frost galaxy. According to the trajectory of the Bartom nomadic tribe, it is very likely that we will encounter the fleet of the Bartom nomadic tribe in the Cold Frost system. My suggestion is that 030 is now ready for protection, lest we be attacked by the enemy after the space transition is over. DG next to him also gave advice. After listening to DG's suggestion, Su-yen's eyes also brightened. DG's suggestion was almost the same as what he thought. After all, this is the Devil's Triangle, so it's always right to be careful. Thinking of this, Su-yen also showed a satisfied smile. Very good. The next fleet command will be handed over to you. I hope you won't let me down. Hearing this sentence, DG's eyes were also filled with joy. The command of the fleet is handed over to her, which means that Su-yen has great trust in her. DG secretly said in her heart that she will never let down the trust that Captain has placed in me. All ships, prepare for space jump, target, Cold Frost Galaxy. With an order, all the ships started the space transition one after another. More than 20 ships directly turned into a streamer and disappeared into the Sea of Stars, Frost Galaxy. A caravan full of cargo is sailing through the Frost Galaxy. This caravan has just left the space transition state, and now the ship's engine is still cooling. They can only maintain the current speed to sail. At this moment, the captain of the caravan was sitting in the middle of the bridge, and his eyes were full of fear and restlessness. How long will it take for the space engine to cool down? Report to the captain, it will take another hour. 1 hour? At this moment, the captain of the caravan never felt that an hour was so long. Today, due to the influence of the warp storm, many forces planning to go to the inner sea are stagnant here. Especially those nomadic tribes who are ready to migrate are forced to settle around the Devil's Triangle because of the influence of the warp storm. It can be said that the risk factor of today's Devil's Triangle is more than a star and a half higher than before. Why is the space engine cooldown so slow? Captain, the cooling time of our space engine has not changed. You are in a hurry. To shut up. Can he be in a hurry? The Cold Frost Galaxy, where they are now, is next door to the territory of the nomadic tribe of Bartom. I heard that some time ago, the caravans of the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce were all robbed by the people of the Bartom tribe. Isn't it more dangerous for the cargo ships of their small Chamber of Commerce? However, they have no other choice than this road. If you change your way, you may encounter other large nomadic tribes. By that time, it will really be over. If it was a small nomadic tribe like Bartom, they might be able to deal with it. But at this moment, the entire ship suddenly began to shake violently. Immediately afterwards, the entire ship seemed to hit something, and the entire ship stopped. What's the situation? The captain of the caravan was like a bird in shock at the moment, and kept asking his crew what happened. And their crew is also at a loss. What happened? Their ships were clearly sailing normally, but a transparent barrier suddenly appeared in space, blocking their ship's travel route. The most important thing is that their radar can't detect the reality of this barrier. As a result, it is now bumped head-on. Report, Captain, we seem to have touched some kind of barrier. but this barrier cannot be detected by our radar. At this moment, the barrier in front of him revealed his figure. After seeing the shape of the barrier, everyone at this time couldn't help but change their expressions. Because the barrier in front of them is a cube, and all their ships are trapped in this ship at the moment and cannot move. After seeing this cube barrier, the captain of the caravan turned pale. He knew this kind of thing, a trap used by some interstellar pirates in the inner sea to capture ships. By changing the space structure, the radar of the ship cannot detect the existence of the space barrier. When they found out, it was too late. This space barrier is often used by pirates in the inland sea to intercept cargo ships. But this is the outer sea. How can there be such a technological product in the outer sea? Even in the inland sea, this space barrier system is extremely rare. A one-time item, but the advantage is that it will not be detected by radar, and even if it is an ordinary ship, it will take a certain amount of time to break through the space barrier. In other words, they are screwed. It's over, we're caught in a trap. Quickly activate the ship's fire system to attack the space barrier in front of you. When the person who sets up the space barrier arrives, we are finished. Hearing this sentence, the surrounding crew also panicked. Trap? Is this a trap set by nomadic tribes or intergalactic pirates? At this moment, a bright light appeared in the starry sky in the distance. In an instant, hundreds of ships appeared in the starry sky, and the symbols of these ships were the symbols of the Bartom nomadic tribe. Seeing the appearance of the fleet of these Bartom nomadic tribes, the captain of the caravan immediately understood who set up this space barrier trap. But what the caravan captain didn't understand was how could the Bartom nomadic tribe have space barrier traps? This kind of space barrier trap is generally something that only large pirate groups in the inner sea have. How could he, a Bartom nomadic tribe, have such a terrifying trap weapon? Among the ships of the Bartom nomadic tribe, the captain laughed. Ha ha ha, it's so cool to be fooled again. Our harvest in recent years is not as much as the harvest in the past few days. With that ship, there's nothing we can't get. Psionic power, space barrier trap, when we finish looting that cargo ship, our Bartom nomadic tribe will be famous. What 7-star Chamber of Commerce, when the time comes, they will all submit to our feet. The captain of the Bartom nomadic tribal fleet, looking at the many trapped cargo ships at this moment, also showed a trace of greed in his eyes. Then, he drove the ships toward those cargo ships to surround them. The captain of the caravan closed his eyes in despair after seeing the numerous ships around. Ruined. Now they are trapped here, even if the space barrier is broken. In the face of the siege of 100 ships, they are also unable to escape. Damn it, why do those guys from the Bartom nomadic tribe have space barrier traps? If it is other large nomadic tribes, it can be understood that they have their own way. But the Bartom nomadic tribe is nothing more than a small nomadic tribe. Where did they get so much energy from? At this moment, the situation on the battlefield changed. Several streamers appeared, and the Hyperion appeared in the sight of the Bartom nomadic tribe in coordination with other ships. The captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe even showed a hint of joy on his face. What day is it today? And yet another fleet came to the door? And this fleet is still only 20 ships in size. Isn't this a sheep's mouth? Great, swallowing 2 fleets in one breath, we must make a lot of money today. Forget about these cargo ships are trapped in the space barrier, they can't escape. Let's swallow this fleet first, and then it's not too late to slowly pack up these cargo ships. For a time, many ships have also become one after another. In their eyes, the Suyen fleet and the cargo ship that suddenly appeared were nothing more than 2 lambs to be slaughtered. Suyan's fleet has just finished the space transition state, that is to say, before the Air 2.6 engine has not cooled down, he can't escape the pursuit of the ships of the Bartom nomadic tribe. For the nomadic tribe of Bartom, isn't this the lamb delivered to the door? On Suyan's side, they didn't expect that they had just finished the space transition and actually directly encountered the fleet of the Bartom nomadic tribe. After the fleet on the opposite side saw them, they actually attacked them directly. Sure enough, DG, your prediction is correct. Unexpectedly, we encountered the fleet of the Bartom nomadic tribe just after the space transition. At this moment, the Bartom nomadic tribe also immediately launched an attack. Several missiles hit Su Yan's ship directly. But at this moment, the Moon-class cruiser directly blocked in front of the Hyperion. Rumbling. The missile fell on the body of the Moon-class cruiser, and the ship's mother, Sun Yat, among the Moon-class cruisers, said it was not painful. Su Yan turned on the radar system and scanned the opponent's ship level directly. After some scanning, Su Yan found that the level of the ships on the opposite side was uneven. Most ships are converted from cargo ships. Seeing this, Su Yan also chuckled. It turned out to be a group of paper tigers. Huh? What's the situation? Did you not eat? Seeing that all the attacks of the fleet were blocked by the Moon-class cruisers. The captain of the Bartom nomadic tribal fleet couldn't sit still, and this attack on the enemy was not enough to tickle. And the crew members under him were also a little surprised. He didn't expect that these fleets did not escape, but took the initiative to attack. Seeing this, many crew members are no longer polite. With full force. For a time, the Skyfield missiles attacked the Moon-class cruiser like a torrential rain. Rumbling. A large number of missiles fell on the Moon-class cruiser, and the firelight directly wrapped the Moon-class cruiser. Seeing that his attack was effective, the captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe also burst out laughing. I thought there was something big, but it turned out to be just a larger ship. Continue to attack another ship for me. I want to see what he will use to resist our attack after the two front row ships are destroyed. Rumbling. Another round of attacks attacked the Moon-class cruiser. 100 ships were fired in unison, and the intensity of their artillery fire made the captain of the caravan next to him tremble when they saw it. Such a fierce artillery attack, even A-class ships can't resist it. In exchange, the other ships might have long since turned into a pile of wreckage under the attack of this round of artillery fire. However, what they faced was the Moon-class cruiser with the blessing of the ship's mother. 31 The original Moon-class cruiser is already powerful and terrifying enough, and with the blessing of an intelligent Rubik's Cube, it is even more like a divine help. I saw that the Moon-class cruiser rushed out of the fire, and the artillery attack just now did not even cause any damage to its armor. The seemingly powerful artillery power has no effect at all for the Moon-class cruiser. Under the blessing of recycled steel, those damages were repaired almost instantly. On the opposite side of the ship of the Bartom nomadic tribe, seeing the giant Moon-class cruiser rushing out of the fire, its expression also changed. Captain, our attack seems to be of no use to them at all. Oh, I don't believe that this ship is really invincible. Give me more firepower and activate the rechargeable artillery. Rumbling. It was another round of fire and rain, and a large number of artillery pieces fell on the Moon-class cruiser. But the Moon-class cruiser is like a god of war in the flames, staring at the artillery fire and rushing straight into the opponent's fleet. Boom! With a loud bang, a ship was caught off guard and was directly crushed by the huge body of the Moon-class cruiser. Their ships are as weak as children compared to the Moon-class cruisers. With its powerful defensive power and huge body, the Moon-class cruiser was like a chariot directly crushing it. Most of the ships of the Bartom nomadic tribe are modified ships, and they are really inferior to regular ships in terms of combat power. What's more, all of Su Yan's ships are the elite among the elite. With the Moon-class cruiser and the blessing of the ship's mother, crushing these ships is a smashing trend. Rumbling. Ship after ship exploded. The two Moon-class cruisers were like tigers entering the flock, wantonly crushing those ships. When the members of the caravan saw this scene, their eyes widened. What kind of ship is this? How come we've never seen a ship of this type? The defensive power of these ships is too perverted, and they are directly killing in the Bartom fleet. 35. Hey, although most of the ships of these nomadic tribes are modified ships, the defense power of these two ships is indeed a bit outrageous. Su Yan, who was sitting in the Hyperion, saw a hint of surprise in his eyes after seeing the heroic performance of the two Moon-class cruisers. I have to say that the Moon-class cruiser with the blessing of the ship's mother is not the same level as the previous Moon-class cruiser. Now the Moon-class cruisers are the real beasts. The powerful defensive power makes them almost invincible in the battlefield. These refitted ships were too rammed, and they shattered at the slightest touch. However, next, it's time for us to do it. DG, the command has been handed over to you, so you don't want to see Ryeo and Xinghue thriving. Let me see what you can do. Hearing these words, DG's eyes also lit up with a raging fire. That's right, the limelight must not be given by both Ryeo and Xinghue. The captain has given the command to himself, and he must win. Not only to win, but to win beautifully. Leave it to me. 9. DG also closed her eyes. The power of the smart cube allows her to easily control the entire fleet. The Bartom nomadic tribe on the opposite side also reacted at this moment. Head-to-head with these two Moon-class cruisers is simply courting death. Therefore, they also quickly distanced themselves from the Moon-class search cruiser. All the ships are spread out. In this case, it is also effective to avoid the attack of the Moon-class cruisers. As expected, after dispersing, the Moon-class cruiser has little room to play. As long as we disperse, the ship will have nothing to do with us. Are the rechargeable guns ready? When you're ready, focus on these two ships for me. I don't believe that the power of the rechargeable artillery is not enough to blow them up. Boom! At this moment, a fire suddenly lit up. The captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe was also slightly taken aback. What's the situation? I haven't given the order yet. Who actually opened fire? Whoosh! Then, another bright light suddenly lit up. At this time, the captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe also reacted. The opposing fleet is on its way. The light that suddenly appeared in front of him was the light of the sun cannon bursting out of the sun fleet. A salvo shot down, and the 10 ships turned into wreckage and burst into a gorgeous firework in space. Rumbling, the Valkyrie fireship also joined the battlefield at this moment. Episode rockets exploded directly. The Helios fireship also released flame missiles at this moment. For a time, the rockets of the episodes and the flame missiles, the firepower network intertwined by the two devoured a large number of ships in an instant. Immediately afterwards, a series of fire lights lit up. More than a dozen ships were scrapped again. At this time, the captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe reacted. The fleet on the opposite side is definitely not an ordinary fleet, and in such a short time, they destroyed nearly half of their ships. On the contrary, not to mention the loss of the opposing ships, even very few were injured. Even the Moon-class cruiser rushing to the forefront, with the blessing of defense and the continuous repair of recycled steel, has at most a touch of color on its body. This injury, after the battle is over, it hardly takes too long to recover directly. In contrast, the fleet of Bartom's nomadic tribe suffered heavy losses. No, I'm careless. This fleet is a tough one. At this time, the captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe also found something wrong. At this moment, he has already made up his mind. If this continues, his ships will be destroyed sooner or later. Thinking of this, the captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe immediately commanded the ship and prepared to retreat. All ships began to retreat, and the first team stayed behind. The other large units are ready to disengage from the battle, and then make a space jump. 55. The first team is going to use the space barrier trap, so that it can stop the opponent for a while. The idea is thorny. The wind is screaming. When DG saw that the opposite ship began to turn its direction, she also immediately understood the opposite's intention. Therefore, DG immediately commanded many ships to pursue the ships of the Bartom nomadic tribe. At this time, it must be pursued immediately. DG directly activated the space interference device, and the space engine was originally an extremely fragile device. With just a little magnetic disturbance, the space engine will cause fluctuations. If the space transition is forcibly performed at this time, it will be no different than 030, and then he will find a dead end. If the space engine is compared to a kettle, to meet the conditions for space transition, it is necessary to wait until the water surface in the kettle reaches a calm state. Every time a space jump is made, the water in the kettle will boil. After cooling down, the water will be calm. However, after entering the combat state, the space engine will also be affected by external factors. The space interference device is to affect the normal use of the space engine by interfering with the magnetic field. This is also a special device developed in order to prevent the enemy from escaping from space jump during the battle. Once activated, you will be immortal unless you escape the range of the device. Damn. Our space transition states are locked. Quickly enter the sublight speed flight state, be sure to get rid of each other. But at this moment, the Hyperion suddenly disappeared from view. Seeing that the ship suddenly disappeared, the captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe also widened his eyes. What's the situation? Incognito? The entire battlefield is now filled with the special magnetic field of space jamming devices. The captain of the nomadic tribe of Bartom never imagined that even under such circumstances, Suyan's Hyperion could still perform short-distance space jumps. The next second, Suyan's Hyperion appeared in front of him. After seeing the Hyperion that suddenly appeared, the captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe couldn't help but widen his eyes. What's the situation? Space warp? In such an environment, it can still perform space warping? Launch space barrier trap. Seeing that the Yamato guns of the Hyperion ship on the opposite side have begun to gather energy, the captain of the Bartom nomadic tribe also shouted immediately. Now the space barrier trap can resist the opponent's attack. As long as the other party's flagship is under control, they still have a chance to escape. Boom. With a muffled sound, a small metal ball the size of a football was launched. The small metal ball hit the huge Hyperion at an astonishing speed. But strangely, the metal ball could not be seen on the radar at all. Boom. The metal ball exploded, and a spherical space barrier burst out directly from the metal ball. In an instant, the Hyperion was directly imprisoned in the space barrier. Suyan, who was sitting in the Hyperion, could not help frowning slightly. Although the space barrier in front of you is difficult to distinguish with the naked eye, you can still see a clue if you look closely. But the strange thing is that this space barrier can't sense its existence whether it uses radar or sonar detection device. That is to say, both light and magnetic fields can penetrate the space barrier. However, the ship entity cannot pass through the space barrier. It was the first time that Suyan saw such a magical space barrier trap. You can see it and touch it, but if you scan it, it's invisible. There is something. Can this space barrier be broken? Hearing this sentence, DG also frowned slightly. She didn't expect that the other party actually has such a means. Space barrier traps, even some power fleets in the inner sea, encounter such traps, they will be very troublesome. The trapped caravan captain turned pale when he saw that Suyan's Hyperion was also trapped by the space barrier trap. Ruined. This Bartom nomadic tribe's fleet is actually equipped with more than one space barrier trap? With this space barrier trap holding the Hyperion in check, the fleet of Bartom's nomadic tribe can retreat safely. Seeing that the opposite side was trapped by the space barrier, the captain of the Bartom nomadic tribal fleet was also delighted. Sure enough, this space barrier trap is very useful. Let's get out of here quickly while the flagship opposite is trapped. As long as we can get out of the range of the space interference device, we can start the space jump back to the Nar system. The Nar system is the home base of their Bartom nomadic tribe. If they dared to follow, they would have eaten the guts of a bear and a leopard. In the NAR system, their fleet and the firepower of the space fortress, even if he has a powerful ship, will fall in the NAR system. But at this moment, the opposite Hyperion still activated the Yamato cannon. Boom! The Yamato cannon bombarded the space barrier directly. Click! The powerful firepower directly cracked the space barrier in front of him. Immediately afterwards, the crack continued to widen, snapped. The space barrier was shattered, and the terrifying firepower of the Yamato cannon landed directly on the opponent's flagship. This Yamato cannon has absorbed most of the damage by the space barrier. But even so, when it landed on the flagship, it immediately caused a huge explosion. The entire flagship is crumbling, and the siren is even more continuous. The captain of the Bartom tribe's eyes widened, unable to believe his own eyes. What is the firepower of this Temo? Just one shot blasted the space barrier trap to pieces? And the caravan next to him was stunned, and smashed the space barrier trap with one shot? Their fleet has been attacking until now, and the space barrier has not moved at all, like an immobile king. But the ship on the other side shattered the space barrier with just one shot? What kind of terrifying firepower is this? At this moment, the captain of the caravan looked at the space barrier trap in front of him. Is the space barrier trap they encountered really the same thing? Report to the captain, do you want to continue firing cannons? The flagship on the opposite side was hit by the weakened Yamato cannon, and it was directly damaged. I estimate that if a Yamato cannon is hit directly, he will explode directly. It has to be said that these nomadic tribes have a large number of ships. But in fact, the quality of the ships is very worrying. Continue to launch without leaving alive. With Su Yan's order, he directly assigned the ending of death to these ships. After DG heard this sentence, there was no ambiguity at all. All ships began to surround the remaining ships of the Bartom nomad tribe. Boom! The Yamato cannon fired again. This time, the flagship on the opposite side was not protected by the space barrier and exploded directly. Rumbling. With the explosion of the flagship on the opposite side, the fleet morale of the entire Bartom nomadic tribe was greatly reduced. The next battle was the crushing of the Bartom nomadic tribe by the Longing fleet. 100 ships, in a short period of time, were gradually engulfed by the Longing fleet. Seeing one ship after another explode, the captain of the caravan was also sweating on his back. What is the origin of this fleet? Why have I never heard of the name of this fleet? 100 ships of the Bartom nomadic tribe were almost destroyed in a short period of time. And on Su Yan's side, not a single ship was killed. With 0 losses, more than 20 ships actually wiped out 100 ships. If you say this, no one will believe it. But this thing really happened in front of him. In the Hyperion, DG also looked at Su Yan on the side. Captain, what should we do next? Next, go to the NAR system. 35, heading to the NAR system? When DG heard these words, a hint of surprise flashed in her eyes. It seems that Su Yan intends to directly enter the base camp of the Bartom nomadic tribe. This approach is very risky, and of course high risk also means high reward. The Bartom nomadic tribe has recently plundered a lot of goods from the caravan, and now the goods in their base camp are very valuable. And the reason why Su Yan chose to move on and break into the opponent's base camp is also very simple. After the battle just now, he also had a simple understanding of the fleet strength of the Bartom tribe. Very weak. At least for their Longing fleet, these ships are no different from paper. If the ships on the opposite side are at this level, Su Yan doesn't mind killing them all. Thinking of this, Su Yan also intends to jump directly to the edge of the NAR galaxy. Check the opponent's fleet first, and then strike. Emperor, prepare for a space jump. Wait until the cooling time is up and jump directly to the edge of the NAR galaxy. Receive. So, the entire fleet just waited for the cooling time of the space engine. After a while, the cooling time of the space engine is also finished. Whoosh! The ship directly enters the space transition state. At this time, those caravans finally broke away from the space barrier. Looking at the space barrier that was finally broken, the captain of the caravan couldn't help but curse. Who invented this thing? It's too hard. After seeing the solidity of the space barrier, the captain of the caravan was even more shocked by the powerful firepower of Su Yan's ship. Such a hard space barrier shattered directly under the bombardment of his ship. This is enough to see the powerful firepower of his ships. Hiss. Thinking of this, the captain of the caravan also silently wrote down the logo of the opposing fleet. Such a powerful fleet might be able to find them to escort them next time. But at this moment, he saw Su Yan's fleet start the space jump and disappear in place. And many more. The direction in which they jumped is the NAR galaxy? Could it be that they were not satisfied with destroying the opposing fleet, and were they going to take over the base camp of the Bartom nomadic tribe? Hiss. From the combat power they showed just now, that fleet really has this strength. Unexpectedly, the Bartom nomadic tribe actually spread out such a powerful fleet. I don't know who will win the battle in the end. You must know that the other side is the base camp of the Bartom nomadic tribe, and with the firepower of the fortress, that fleet can really take down the Bartom nomadic tribe with only more than 20 ships, but should it be? At this time, Su Yan's ship also jumped to the edge of the NAR system. After arriving at the edge of the NAR galaxy, Su Yan also saw a space fortress hanging in the sea of stars from a distance. This space fortress is much smaller than the West Wind Fortress that he blew up before. But compared with the West Wind Fortress, the firepower of its equipment is much stronger than that of the West Wind Fortress. There are still many fleets patrolling around this fortress. From the number of ships seen so far, the number of ships is only about 50 ships. Hiss. Could it be that the fleet I just destroyed is the main fleet of the Bartom nomadic tribe? Their main fleet is also too weak, is Zhao. At this time, if the captain of the dead Bartom nomadic tribe heard this sentence, he would definitely spit out a mouthful of old blood. What do you call too many of them? Obviously, Su Yan's fleet firepower is too perverted. The Sun cannon shoots one ship at a time, in order to be comparable to the Yamato cannon that has not been upgraded. The Valkyrie firepower ship, plus the Helios firepower ship, the two flagships are two-pronged, so who can withstand the terrifying firepower? Even if they fought back, the two Moon-class cruisers stood in front of them like a city wall. How could they attack? It's not that they are too weak, it's that Su Yan's fleet is too strong. They can even beat the guard establishment of the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce. How could their strength be weak? But Su Yan didn't know this, and just in case, he drove a ship to wander around the edge of the NAR system. Make sure that the Bartom nomadic tribe on the opposite side has no other ships ambushing on the dark side of the planet, and is always ready to attack them. The main force on the opposite side should be the ship Su Yan had just encountered in the Cold Frost Galaxy. Now, the main force on the opposite side has been destroyed, leaving only one space fortress and 50 ships. After confirming the opponent's strength, Su Yan also decisively chose to attack. When not to beat at this time. A mere 50 ships, for his longing fleet, is simply a piece of cake. DG, dispatch the fleet, attack, boom. Yamato cannon starts. With the dazzling light beam suddenly lit up, the Hyperion took the lead in launching an attack. Powerful Yamato cannons run directly through the entire space fortress. At this time, the space fortress also reacted instantly, and immediately entered a state of combat readiness. I saw a layer of energy barrier rise, and instantly enveloped the entire space fortress. Among the space fortresses of the Bartom nomadic tribe, many tribe members quickly entered a state of combat readiness after they were attacked. Enemy attack. Enemy attack, don't stand still, grab your weapons. What's the situation? Could it be that the other tribe's fleet is calling? No, it's a fleet with only 20 ships. 5. Can a fleet with only 20 ships be called a fleet? 35. But they shot through our fort. Bring my gear, we have to get up quickly. In the entire Bartom fortress, all the tribe members began to arm themselves. They don exoskeleton armor and carry laser guns. A large number of tribe members were running back and forth in the corridor. In addition to the space fortress, 50 frigates are also in action. I saw that the 50 frigates aimed at Su Yan's Hyperion, and a round of artillery fired directly over it. But in the next second, under the watchful eyes of the public, the Hyperion disappeared directly in place. Jump in place and directly dodged all attacks. This operation directly caused the opposite fleet crew members to be stunned. Jumping in place, they have never seen such a heaven-defying move. But before they could react, the Yamato cannon fired again. Boom! A single shot of the Yamato gun turned into a straight line. A ship was penetrated by the Yamato gun, and even the ship behind him could not escape the fate of being penetrated by the Yamato gun. Just used a Yamato cannon to directly blow up 2 ships. 047, such terrifying artillery directly stunned the crew of those ships. What type of artillery is this? And it actually penetrated our 2 ships with one shot. 99. Let's spread out. If we go on like this, we will gather together, but it will be easy to be set on fire by the opposite side. All ships keep their distance, and can't let the artillery on the opposite side hit us easily. 99. Seeing the ships on the opposite side disperse one after another, the corner of Su Yan's mouth rose slightly. Do you think it will be alright? The Hyperion has yet to show her true abilities. The corner of Su Yan's mouth rose slightly. DG, activate the overload mode of the ship. Do you want to activate overload mode? Hearing these 4 words, even DG couldn't help but confirm with Su Yan again. And Su Yan is also very sure. The overload mode is to start the overloadable reactor, so that the ship's energy system is in the overload mode. After the overload mode is activated, the speed and firepower of the ship will be greatly increased. At the same time, the Yamato cannon will not be limited by the number of times, and can be fired indefinitely. However, this mode consumes a lot of energy. Even an energy carrier like the Eternal Energy Stone can only open the overload mode for 1 hour in 24 hours. Once this time is exceeded, the overloadable reactor may not be able to withstand the excessive energy and explode directly. Therefore, when the overload mode was turned on, DG also asked Su Yan repeatedly. After getting Su Yan's affirmation, DG also decisively turned on the overload mode. Overload mode is starting, at this moment, in the power room of the Hyperion. The overloadable reactor is like an awakened beast, making a very loud, DBCG, roar. The long silent overloadable reactor exudes an astonishing breath. The Eternal Energy Stone in the overloadable reactor is also fully activated. The astonishing energy aura overflowed continuously, and then the overloadable reactor collected the energy and transported it to various areas of the ship through pipelines. A lot of energy was sent to the Hyperion. At this moment, DG's face was reddish, as if she was drunk. The state of Hyperion will also be transmitted to the ship's mother in real time. At this moment, DG's body is exuding amazing heat. Su Yan, who was sitting next to her, also felt that DG was as hot as a small stove now. On the energy meter of the Hyperion, the energy of the Hyperion is also rising. Enable overload mode. The energy concentration is rising. Yamato cannon restriction open. After hearing this voice, Su Yan's face also showed a smile. Next is his battlefield. Boom. In the Sea of Stars, the Hyperion directly aimed at a ship. The cannons with terrifying power burst out directly. In an instant, the ship, which was still intact, was directly penetrated by the Yamato cannon. The terrifying energy directly tore the ship apart. Boom. The second Yamato cannon followed. The third Yamato cannon. Fourth Yamato cannon. At this moment, the Hyperion went directly into a state of rage, and the powerful guns were pouring out just like no money. Every time the Yamato cannon roars, a ship will surely fall. In a short period of time, the Hyperion actually killed 10 of the opponent's ships. With such combat power, whether it is Ling Bing and others on the side of the Longing fleet, or the tribe members of the Bartom tribe on the opposite side, they can't help but take a deep breath. This is the fleet that popped out from there? How long has it been? One of his ships directly destroyed 10 of our ships. Where did our main force go? Didn't they go to the Cold Frost Galaxy? If they don't come back, our fortress will be penetrated. At this moment, facing the incomparably violent Hyperion in front of him, many ships simply cannot compete head-on with it. The Hyperion is now in an overloaded state, and it can jump many times, which can be called a flash. Coupled with the Yamato cannon in an overloaded state, it is completely an infinite reaper in the battlefield. No matter how harsh their attacks are, they are all vain in the face of space warping. And Su Yan's attack was just a single Yamato cannon, enough to smash it into pieces. The difference between the two is not even the slightest bit. At this time, Su Yan also decisively turned off the overload mode. Although the overload mode is powerful, the side effects are also very obvious. At this moment, DG's face was flushed and sweating, and she couldn't stop gasping for breath. If it goes on like this, it is estimated that she will not be able to withstand the huge energy in the overload mode. After the overload mode was turned off, the overloadable reactor gradually became silent. A wisp of white smoke emerged from the overloadable reactor, and even the luster of the eternal energy stone dimmed a little. Just for a while, the resources consumed by the Hyperion were about 50 times the normal energy consumption, but fortunately, I now have the eternal energy stone, so I don't have to worry about energy consumption at all. After stopping the overload state, DG's body temperature gradually returned to normal mode. Now, it's time for the final harvest. With a series of artillery bursts from the sun god ship, the few ships that were left in front of them also turned into gorgeous fireworks and disappeared into space, and Su Yan looked at the Bartom fortress in front of him, and decisively chose to let the Thunder Warriors airborne. The huge body of the Moon-class cruiser is also slowly approaching Bartom fortress. At this time, the tribe members in the fortress wanted to resist. They operate the garrison's artillery system, carrying out a series of frantic bombardments on Su Yan's Moon-class cruisers. Among the bridges of the Moon-class cruisers, the two shipgirls, Riyadh and Xinghui, looked at the fortresses in front of them with successive attacks falling on them, with a trace of disdain on their faces. For them, the activation of hundreds of ships could not damage their bodies too much. The firepower of this fortress alone is still too tender. So, the two shipgirls waved their hands, and the hatch also opened. Thunder warriors and battle nuns, wearing jetpacks, set off from the hatch and landed directly on top of the space fortress. Next, it is a crushing battle without suspense. The Bartom fortress was easily captured by Su Yan. After all, the tribe members in it were just some stronger Xinghai races. Compared with fierce men like Thunder Warriors, their combat power is one in the sky and one in the ground. After taking Bartom Fortress, Su Yan also came to the warehouse of Bartom Fortress. Basically, all the resources plundered by the nomadic tribe of Bartom are here. So, Su Yan also opened the warehouse door. After seeing the goods in the warehouse, Su Yan couldn't help but sigh. This Bartom nomadic tribe is not large, and the warehouse is quite fat. After searching, Su Yan also found the goods of the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce. The goods of the Seven-Star Chamber of Commerce all have their own logos on them. Su Yan waved his hand and ordered someone to remove all the goods. At that time, after taking all the goods from the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce, the rest will be his own. At this time, Su Yan also turned on his technology watch and sent a message to Mei Shui, the president of the Seven-Star Chamber of Commerce. Su Yan, I got all your goods back for you. After all, Su Yan also watched the goods being transported to the Bay cargo ship. Just then, one of the fighting nuns came over. Report, Captain, we found an abandoned cargo ship in the fort's dock. This cargo ship is not the cargo ship of the Bartom tribe, and there is also an elf woman in it. But that elf woman seems to be a psionicist, and we have controlled her now. Next, please go and see how to deal with her. Elf tribe? Interestingly, an elf woman actually appeared in the fortress of the nomadic tribe of Bartom. Are you sure it's from the elves? After some confirmation, Su Yan also touched his chin. Interesting. You must know that in the Sea of Stars, the elves and the dark elves are completely different existences. The strength of the elves can be said to be only under the ancient empire. But every elves of the elves are extremely repulsive to the star sea races outside. They think their blood is noble. They claim to be the most noble race in Xinghai, and their inherent arrogance makes them block the country's gates and do not have any communication with the outside world. In the Sea of Stars, the probability of seeing an elves is no different from Mars hitting the Earth. After every elf in the elf family is born, it will become a psionicist. Not only that, they are extremely good at caring for plant life, and their blood is the most advanced nutrient for plant life. According to rumors, after a drop of elf blood is diluted tens of thousands of times, even if it is sprayed on a wasteland, it is enough to instantly turn the wasteland into a piece of green grass. This is the magical effect of elf blood. It can be said that some very precious plants in Xinghai may not be able to support other races. But if you put it in the hands of the elves, even a half-dead plant can be rescued. Such a powerful and magical race, their existence is also known as an anecdote of the Xinghai. However, elves are really rare. They live in seclusion in inland seas, and even the most powerful pilots in the world cannot find their habitat. But Su Yan didn't expect that in the fortress of the Bartom nomadic tribe there was an elf woman? The first time he heard the news, Su Yan didn't believe it. That is the elves, how could they appear here? With a skeptical attitude, Su Yan also walked towards the dock of the Bartom nomadic tribe. When he came to the dock, he could see a dilapidated ship docked in the dock. Su Yan glanced at the ship and couldn't help but light up. This ship is actually an S-class ship. However, the ship has now been damaged beyond recognition, and even the repair cost is extremely high. For Su Yan, the ship has no value for repairs. Around this ship, many Thunder Warriors are also standing beside the ship to guard. At this moment, a battle nun held a bolt gun, pressed against the head of an elf woman, and escorted her out of the ship. "Sister, I advise you to be honest, otherwise I will not guarantee that the bolt gun in my hand will not fire." The battle nun's eyes are also full of vigilance. Because she could feel that the elf woman in front of her had traces of spiritual energy on her body. Although she is now weak to the point where she can't use her psionic energy, the battle nun does not dare to slack off in the face of this potential threat. After Su Yan saw the elf woman in front of her, a trace of pity flashed in her eyes, but this trace of pity is also fleeting. In this place of Xinghai, kindness to the enemy is cruelty to oneself. The elf woman in front of her was bound by chains on her hands and feet. On her neck, there is also a psionic suppression collar. As long as she uses her psionic energy, the collar will explode immediately. This is also a way to bind psychers. Su Yan glanced at her, and his eyes fell on the arms of the elf woman. Her arms were covered with scars, and the dense scars covered almost all of her arms. At this moment, her complexion was pale, and at first glance it looked like she had lost too much blood. The nobility that belongs to the elf clan cannot be seen in her at this moment, and all she has is the despair after being tortured. Su Yan looked at the elf woman in front of her, and then waved to the battle nun to bring her to her. "Is this ship yours?" Facing Su Yan's question, the elf woman nodded numbly. Su Yan glanced at the ship and then at the elf woman. "Only one ship?" 35, the elf woman nodded. "What's your name?" "Rydell." No matter what Su Yan asked, the elf woman answered truthfully, like an emotionless robot. Looking at the elf woman in front of her, Su Yan couldn't help but sighed how these tribe members tortured her like this. Su Yan tried to reach out to comfort her. But the next second, the elf woman seemed to be frightened. I saw her take a few steps back quickly, her eyes full of horror. "Don't hit me. I'll tell you everything. I'll work hard, don't hit me." At this moment, she was like a frightened little beast, curled up involuntarily. Seeing this scene, Su Yan originally intended to comfort her palm, but it also stopped in the air. "Well, take her to the Hyperion and treat her in the medical bay. At that time, arrange for Lin Qingyue to take care of her. It is estimated that her psychological trauma will be difficult to heal within 10 days and a half months." 5. Su Yan gave up communication with this elf girl, Rydell. Now that she has suffered huge psychological trauma, normal communication is estimated to be impossible. After taking Rydell away, Su Yan also looked at the ship in front of her. "This is the first time I have seen an S-class cargo ship." Su Yan walked into the cargo ship and began to search for the cargo ship. When he came to a room of the spacecraft, he couldn't help being shocked by the sight in front of him. I saw that this room was filled with all kinds of rare plants. Energy pea, fluorescent grass, flame wheat. These plants generally only appear on planets with certain extreme environments. But now, they are all gathered here. The value of these plants alone is enough for billions of stars. Most importantly, when Su Yan's eyes fell on the most central plant, he couldn't help but sigh. Get rich. Because in the center of this cultivation room is actually a tree of life. Tree of life? When Su Yan saw this, he couldn't believe his eyes. This is a 5-star treasure. You must know that in the inner sea, all treasures are classified into 1 to 5 stars according to their precious grades. 5-star treasures can be said to be extremely precious treasures placed in the entire Shanghai. Once it appears, it will definitely cause a bloody storm. Su Yan also couldn't believe that such treasures would appear in the open sea. After some scanning confirmation, Su Yan confirmed that the tree of life in front of him is the true tree of life. The tree of life, its precious place is in its fruit. The fruit of life it touches is called the second heart. After the dying person eats the fruit of life, all injuries can be recovered in an instant. 4 flowers. Moreover, after ordinary people eat the fruit of life, there is still a chance to awaken psionic energy. It is very likely that the half-orc he met in the 7-star building before had awakened his psychic energy after eating the fruit of life. Although it is a low-level psionic energy, but after all, he became a psionicist, and his nature is very different. However, Su Yan glanced at the bare tree of life. The fruit of life above has been picked by the guys from the Bartom nomadic tribe. Su Yan put away the tree of life and other rare plants. These plants came out of this ship. It is estimated that I can't find them. Afterwards, Su Yan also searched the ships again. As expected, he found a lot of space barrier traps in the ship's warehouse. This thing is a good thing. Hand it over to the mechanical priest to disassemble it for research. Maybe it can be deduced from its blueprint. At that time, mass production can begin. In the battle in the inland sea, this thing is used a lot. Afterwards, Su Yan also searched, and after confirming that there was no oil or water, he also withdrew from the fortress. Immediately afterwards, Su Yan directly blew up the fortress. Among the 7 stars Chamber of Commerce, Mei Shue was checking the current bill of the Chamber of Commerce. Because of the influence of the warp storm, a lot of power is now entrenched in the Devil's Triangle. The passage is unavailable, and they can only be docked here. Therefore, the recent flow of people is also increasing. However, among these people, the Gods and Ghosts Mercenary Corps and the Count of Raphael, the 210 heavenly kings of the inland sea, were also entrenched in the Devil's Triangle. This can't help but make people a little worried. If the 2 of them attack, it is really difficult for someone to resist their offensive. Approaching the auction, the entire 7-star Chamber of Commerce was also tense. Once something goes wrong, the entire 7-star Chamber of Commerce will suffer. At this moment, Mei Shue's technology watch also popped up a message. Su Yan, I got all your goods back for you. Su Yan's news, is he moving so fast? How long has it been since then, and he has already completed the mission? Wait, Mei Shue took a closer look at the message. Did he get the goods back? Got it all back? Mei Shue's eyes narrowed slightly, and there was a hint of surprise in her eyes. Unexpectedly, Su Yan not only brought back all the goods, but also completed the task so quickly. It seemed that he had underestimated him at first. This young man's ability is much stronger than she imagined. It's kind of interesting, but it's not a talent that Sister Jean Luo likes. If it was him, I could invest it myself. At this time, Mei Shue also called the secretary. The secretary came in and also asked, President, what do you have to do with me? Our goods have been recovered. Find some people and go to Star Harbor to unload the goods later. Hearing this sentence, the secretary was also stunned. Have the goods been recovered? Could it be the cargo looted by the nomadic tribe of Bartom? Hiss. Unexpectedly, the human named Su Yan actually took the goods back. Originally, the secretary was not optimistic, but Su Yan's efficiency is really strong. It's a loss to bring the goods back so quickly. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic, how about it? In the Hyperion, Su Yan also asked Lin Qingyue how the elf girl was injured. At this moment, Lin Qingyue's face was not good looking. Because after she used the medical cabin to scan the elf woman, she found that there were hundreds of injuries on her body alone. This level of injury is tantamount to the punishment of lingering. If it were other Shanghai races, it is estimated that they could no longer bear the pain and chose to understand themselves. Moreover, many injuries caused by blunt weapons were also found on Alfredel's body. It seems that when she was in the Bartom nomadic tribe, she received a lot of damage from those tribe members. Su Yan also remembered the plants in the cultivation room. The reason why those plants grew so vigorously was probably because of the existence of ladle. Wounds are easy to heal, but wounds of the soul are not so easy to heal. Qingyue, you have been with her these few days, to ease her mind. Among all the crew members, Lin Qingyue's character was suitable for getting along with Lai Dale later. If it is Ling Bing or others, it is estimated that it will only have the opposite effect. At this time, DG stood aside and said, "Lord Captain, we have already arrived at Star Harbor. Luo. 047 Su Yan also looked down and saw Mei Shui and her secretary standing in the starport with many unloading workers. Seeing this, Su Yan also let the Hyperion land on the berth in front of her. After the ship was completely parked, Su Yan also left the bridge and came to the hatch. After opening the hatch, Mei Shui was also standing in front of him, with an admiring smile on her face. "Our hero is back? Where's my stuff?" Hearing this sentence, Su Yan also brought Mei Shui and others to the warehouse of Bei. Open the warehouse door, and a series of goods are placed in it. Su Yan pointed to a pile of goods next to him and said, "These goods should be all the goods of your 7-star Chamber of Commerce. I see that the packaging of these goods has the logo of your 7 Stars Chamber of Commerce. It should be correct." Hearing these words, Mei Shui's secretary also glanced at the pile of goods. The packaging of the goods does indeed have the goods of their 7 Stars Chamber of Commerce. She also went forward to count the number of goods, which was exactly the same as the goods looted by their 7-star Chamber of Commerce. "These goods are the goods we were looted by the Bartom nomadic tribe before, and they are all here." Hearing this sentence, Mei Shui also brought a hint of joy in her eyes. The goods were intact, and she was naturally extremely happy. But the joy in her eyes just flashed by, and her face still had the smile that Gu Bo did not frighten the game world. "Sure enough, I didn't see you wrong back then. The reward for this mission will be on the star coin card that I will hit." Then, Mei Shui looked at another pile of goods next to her. The goods of their 7-star Chamber of Commerce are just one of these huge piles of goods. Among the goods next to her, Mei Shui saw the logos of many other chambers of commerce. "You took these goods from the Bartom nomads too?" Hearing this sentence, Su Yan also set his eyes on the pile of goods. After thinking for a moment, Su Yan also said lightly, "It's not a robbery, I have knocked down their fortresses, and these goods are naturally taken casually." 99. At this time, Mei Shui also revealed a smile when she heard these words. "Your Excellency Su Yan is really a joke. The Bartom nomadic tribe is a small tribe. But with their combat power and the support of fortress firepower, it would take a fleet of at least 100 ships to take them down." 35. I know your fleet is very powerful, but don't underestimate those nomadic tribes. Mei Shui knows the power of those nomadic tribes very well. The firepower of the fortress combined with their huge fleet, no fleet with the size of 100 ships could not win. When she heard this, Mei Shui couldn't help taking Su Yan's words as a joke. After all, Su Yan's ships are only about 20 ships in size. No matter how powerful it is, it cannot compete with a fleet of hundreds of ships. The cargo may be because he happened to come across a squad of Bartom's nomadic tribe who looted his cargo. If this is the case, he can easily bring the goods back. Seeing that Mei Shui took her words as a joke, Su Yan did not explain. Those unloading workers also brought a lot of goods back to the 7-star Chamber of Commerce, and Mei Shui, the president of the 7-star Chamber of Commerce, also handed Su Yan an auction ticket at this time. "After a while, the auction of our 7-star Chamber of Commerce will be held. If Your Excellency Su Yan is free at that time, please come and join us." Su Yan took over the admission ticket, which was the second admission ticket he had obtained. In other words, when the time comes, you can bring one more person into the auction site. After thinking about it, Su Yan also decided to bring Lin Qingyue, a little rich woman. At that time, she might be able to give herself a surprise. After delivering the goods, Mei Shui also returned to the 7-star Chamber of Commerce office. At this time, the secretary next to him couldn't help but speak. President, do you think it is really possible for him to sack the Bartom nomadic tribe? So much cargo, it doesn't look like a raiding team can eat it. Hearing the secretary's words, Manhwa's face also became serious. Indeed, the amount of those goods was staggering. But she couldn't imagine how Su Yan could destroy the entire Bartom nomadic tribe's fleet of more than 100 ships with only more than 20 ships. This is indeed a bit of a fantasy for her. For the fleet in the Star Sea, defeating a fleet that is twice its own size is already a matter of great pride. The size of Su Yan's ships and the ships of Bartom's fleet were more than 5 times larger. The difference in numbers was so great that Manhwa could hardly believe it. But thinking of the pile of goods, Manhwa's inner thoughts were also shaken. Does he really have the great ability to take down the entire Bartom tribe? Thinking of this, Manhwa also crossed her arms and began to think about the possibility of this happening. Just then, someone knocked on the door of the office. A member of the Chamber of Commerce walked in with a hurried look on his face. Seeing this, the secretary also frowned slightly. What is it that makes you so flustered? President, great news, the Bartom nomadic tribe was annihilated. Now someone has gone to the Nar galaxy, specially, and the space fortress inside has been bombed into ruins. Also, I heard that a small Chamber of Commerce recorded a video that an unnamed fleet with only more than 20 ships actually crushed more than 100 ships of the Bartom nomadic tribe. 99. I don't know if this fleet is the fleet of that strong man, the combat power is too strong. Before the Chamber of Commerce member could finish speaking, Manhwa also interrupted him directly. Show me the information. After taking the video data, Manhwa also directly recognized the fleet logo in the picture. The logo above is exactly Su Yan's Dragon Hidden Fleet. Even the well-informed Manhwa couldn't help showing a surprised expression when he saw the almost sky-defying strength of the longing fleet. More than 20 ships actually crushed 100 ships directly? This kind of thing actually happened. And, right after that, she also saw the bombed-out Bartom fortress. At this moment, Bartom's fortress has been turned into a pile of ruins, suspended in space. Recalling what she said to Su Yan before, Manhwa couldn't help but feel a blush. How could I have said that to Su Yan in the first place? This is a shameful loss. Unexpectedly, the president of her dignified 7-star Chamber of Commerce will also have a day of misunderstanding. I underestimate Su Yan's strength too much. At this moment, Su Yan also received a message. Yi Huang, brother, I heard that you are also in Huanyuxing. I am in the 7-star tavern on the 23rd floor of the 7-star building. Would you like to come over and catch up? Last time I exchanged Yi Huang's contact information, Su Yan didn't expect that he is also in Huanyuxing now. Also a blue star human, after Su Yan thought for a moment, he also decided to take Baiying to the 7-star tavern. After all, in the vast sea of stars, it is not easy for 2 blue stars to meet. I have nothing to do now, so I might as well go to the 7-star tavern. Su Yan brought Baiying along and took the elevator to the 7-star tavern on the 23rd floor. In the 7 Stars Tavern, Su 2.6 Yan quickly found Yi Huang. However, this time Yi Huang was sitting in the private room with 2 burly orcs standing behind him. Captain, be careful, I saw those 2 orcs last time in the tavern. But I didn't know at the time that these 2 orcs were this guy's subordinates. This guy must be more than just a bartender. Su Yan also noticed the 2 orcs behind Yi Huang. Sitting opposite Yi Huang, he also said straight to the point, it seems that brother Yi Huang, your identity is not just a bartender. 99. Hearing this sentence, Yi Huang also smiled faintly. The tavern on the Wasteland Star is one of my industries. I should have no problem working for myself. The 2 looked at each other and smiled, revealing the matter. But at this time, Su Yan couldn't treat Yi Huang as a simple bartender. Yi Huang saw a little more vigilance in Su Yan's eyes, and was also very calm. Brother Su Yan, don't worry, if I really want to hurt you. As early as the Wasteland Star, I should have started. I'm here with you this time, just to catch up with the past, and you don't have to be too nervous. Faced with Yi Huang, whose identity suddenly became confusing, Su Yan also began to speculate about his identity in his heart. The opposite, Yi Huang also waved his hand and ordered the bartenders around him to serve a few glasses of wine. Yi Huang pushed a glass of colorful wine in front of Su Yan. It's their tree fruit whiskey. I've researched this drink, which is made from special tree fruits on tropical planets. It tastes good, you can try it. 99. For wine, Yi Huang obviously has a lot of research. Su Yan took the glass of wine and took a sip. A faint fruity fragrance permeated his mouth, and Su Yan also lit up. The taste was really good. It's a pity that I don't know the recipe, otherwise I can add it to my Hyperion's bar list. After drinking, Yi Huang also took the initiative to open the chatterbox. I only recently came from the Wasteland Star. You are also aware of the situation on the Wasteland Star. The business is not very good. Who knows, when I first got here, I heard that the Bartom nomadic tribe looted the 7-star Chamber of Commerce. To be honest, my brothers and I are all mercenaries. I thought that the 7-star Chamber of Commerce would find some of our brothers to clean up the Bartom nomadic tribe. Who knows, after inquiring, this task actually fell on a person named Su Yan. I knew it was you when I thought about it. Hearing these words, Su Yan was also a little surprised. Unexpectedly, he actually stole Yi Huang's business by accident? And Yi Huang also waved 31 hands, afraid that Su Yan would care and explain. Brother, you don't have to worry about it. Who can get the list depends on one's ability. Furthermore, the video of your extermination of the main fleet of the Bartom nomadic tribe was uploaded to the internet. With more than 20 ships, you actually killed the entire Bartom nomadic tribe. All I can say is, brother, cow. At this time, Yi Huang also admired Su Yan from the bottom of his heart. Although according to his strength, killing the Bartom nomadic tribe is no different from crushing an ant. However, to make him fight with more than 20 ships against 100 ships, he can also guarantee that he will not suffer any battle damage. All he can say is that even if Laozi comes, he can't do it. However, Su Yan sat right in front of him and he did it. Yi Huang watched the video hundreds of times, and he found that Su Yan's ships were more evil than each other. That Luna-class cruiser, in terms of defense and size, was simply a titan beast. The siege of 100 ships did not even break the defense? Then there are those fire ships. If he read it right, there are 10 sun god ships among them. The sun god ship is the super powerful fire ship used by the ancient empire. The legendary sun cannon, which is comparable to a small-scale star-level weapon, is not a false name. As for the other ships, he couldn't see it, but compared to the sun god's ships, its burst of firepower was far superior. Finally, there is Su Yan's flagship of the Hyperion. Multiple fixed-point jumps can be made, and this alone is enough to make it the most dazzling ship among the S-class ships. Once the fire is focused and the space jump is performed directly, who can stop it? And its Yamato cannon can smash the space barrier traps, and no ship can withstand such a turbulent attack with one cannon. After watching the video, Yi Huang also had a clear understanding of Su Yan's fleet. If you want to compete with Su Yan's fleet, the opponent must prepare at least 10 times more troops. If you want to destroy Su Yan's fleet, you need at least 20 times more troops. And, only guaranteed to destroy his fleet, want to wipe out Su Yan's army? Impossible. With the Hyperion's multiple jump system alone, unless the other party can block the entire galaxy. Otherwise, you will never catch Su Yan. After some evaluation, Yi Huang also secretly said in his heart. If Su Yan enters the Inner Sea, it will take a few years before the 10 Heavenly Kings of the Inner Sea will have an extra Heavenly King level force. After drinking a few glasses of wine, the two exchanged similar greetings. And Yi Huang asked Su Yan to come here, not just to catch up. Brother Su Yan, to be honest, I came to you today because I have something to discuss with you. After all, Yi Huang also took out an astrolabe and placed it on the table. After seeing this astrolabe, Su Yan also narrowed his eyes slightly. The originally drunk consciousness was also instantly sober. Because in front of him is a 5-star treasure coordinate, he also has a 5-star treasure coordinate. However, the coordinates of his 5-star treasure are in the Inner Sea. Even if he wants to find it now, he has to enter the Inner Sea first. and Yi Huang was not shy, and directly opened the coordinates of this treasure. A sea of stars coordinates also appeared in front of Su Yan. When Su Yan saw the coordinates of the treasure, he couldn't help but narrow his eyes. Because this coordinate actually shows that it is in the open sea, and it is near the Devil's Triangle. These are the coordinates of a 5-star treasure that I got from an interstellar pirate. When I came to Topaz Star this time, in addition to participating in the auction, I was looking for the coordinates of this 5-star treasure. Having said that, Su Yan also looked at Yi Huang. You just show me the coordinates of the treasure, aren't you afraid that I will secretly take these treasures away? Hearing this sentence, Yi Huang was not annoyed, but a smile appeared on his face. I saw that after he put away the coordinates of the treasure, he also said confidently, the reason why I came to you is because this 5-star treasure cannot be eaten by me alone. I went to investigate the coordinates of this 5-star treasure in advance. The coordinates of this 5-star treasure is a mutant plant planet, and the plants on it are all mutant plants that are extremely aggressive. 35. It's basically impossible for my subordinates to reach the target location safely. Yi Huang tried to move on the surface of that planet. In less than a few hours, he suffered a loss. Therefore, Yi Huang also understands that just relying on his own troops, if he wants to eat this 5-star treasure alone, he must pay a painful price. At this time, Yi Huang also heard about Su Yan's deeds. Su Yan and he are both from the Blue Star, and there is a kinship among them. Most importantly, Yi Huang had investigated Su Yan, and the soldiers under Su Yan were fiercer than each other. It can be said that ground combat is Su Yan's strength. He has already seen Su Yan's fleet strength in Star Sea battle. His fleet strength is already so terrifying. How terrifying the strength of his ground troops should be. Apart from Su Yan, there should be no more suitable candidates. Brother Su Yan, it's still a while before the auction. Anyway, if you're idle, why don't you just follow me and vote? At that time, the account will be divided between 5 and 5 to ensure that you will not suffer any losses. Listening to Yi Huang's plan, Su Yan also touched his chin. The 5-star treasure location is still in the open sea, which is a rare opportunity. After thinking for a moment, Su Yan also chose to agree. Well, since that's the case, I'll follow you. Anyway, now that I am idle, so I might as well follow Yi Huang to earn some extra money. Yi Huang also smiled slightly, since the brothers believe me, I will not let them suffer. 55. After all, Yi Huang also opened his own technology watch. A contract document was also sent to Su Yan's technical watch. This is a fair contract established by the Libra Empire. Once we sign the contract, whoever violates the rules, the Libra Empire will strike against the breaching party. The Libra Empire is one of the few ancient empires that are still active in the Qinghai, and their credit is famous throughout the Qinghai. So you can see that there is no problem with this contract, so this contract will be included in the database of the Libra Empire. After seeing the content of the contract, Su Yan was also a little surprised. Unexpectedly, in the sea of intriguing stars, there is still such a contract 047 system. But it is also good, this also prevents the opponent from backstabbing. Although for Su Yan, he doesn't have to worry at all. He has enough confidence in his own strength, even if the opponent's strength far exceeds him, it is a trap. With the Hyperion's ability to bend many times, he could easily escape. The two signed a fair contract, and the contract took effect immediately after it was signed. After signing the contract, Su Yan and Yi Huang also looked at each other and smiled. The two have reached a temporary alliance relationship, and they are not allowed to attack each other until the contract expires. Those who attack first will be wanted by the Libra Empire. Even Yi Huang did not dare to violate the contract. After all, the ancient empire was the top force in the Sea of Stars. Even if he is the 10 heavenly king of the inner sea, he is just a slightly bigger bug in front of the ancient empire. After leaving the tavern, Su Yan also began to investigate Yi Huang's details. After all, Yi Huang doesn't look like a simple mercenary. Yi Huang and Su Yan agreed 3 days later. At the top of the top Jade Star port, Before that, Su Yan had a lot of time to investigate the details of this Yi Huang. After Yi Huang left the tavern, the two orcs also asked, "Boss, why do you want to cooperate with this human being? Just a few of our brothers are enough to win that 5-star treasure. Which mercenary group will not suffer casualties when roaming in the Sea of Stars? For those casualties, it's too cheap to give half of the treasure to that human being." Hearing this sentence, Yi Huang raised his hand and signaled them not to continue talking. Su Yan will enter the inner sea sooner or later, and sooner or later he will become a king-level force with his strength. One more ally is better than one more enemy. With half of a 5-star treasure, in exchange for a reliable ally in the inner sea in the future. Is this business worth it? At least, Yi Huang thought it was a good deal. Azure Blue Galaxy, Songlong Star. Songlong Star is a high-oxygen planet, and the high concentration of oxygen makes the plants and creatures here extremely large. 90% of the entire planet is covered by oceans. The remaining 10% of the land is occupied by plants. With a series of streamers appearing near Songlong Star, Su Yan's Hyperion was the first to appear near this planet. Immediately afterwards, other ships one after another left the space transition state and appeared next to the Hyperion. G%. Su Yan looked at the fleet of the ghost mercenary group on the side. After leaving the tavern last time, Su Yan immediately checked the news about Yi Huang after returning. Finally, he found a clue. This guy named Yi Huang was actually one of the 10 heavenly kings of the inner sea. The god and ghost mercenary group under his command is also a very loud existence in the mercenary world. Su Yan did not expect that Yi Huang, who is also a blue star human with himself, would have such a huge power. Fortunately, the present self and him have established a fair contract. The two factions can be regarded as an alliance now, and Yi Huang would only do this if he was dazed. Thinking of this, Su Yan also set his sights on Songlong Star in front of him. In the communication channel, Yi Huang's voice also passed over. "Brother Su Yan, this time our target is the treasure on the Songlong Star. 99, however, it is estimated that it will be difficult for our ships to land on the ground. Most of the plants on Songlong Star are mutant plants, and if our ship falls on the ground, it will be invaded by those mutant plants before long. So, next we have to drop the ship over the destination for an airborne." After hearing these words, Su Yan also nodded, indicating that there was no problem. Seeing Su Yan speak so well, Yi Huang was also relieved. He didn't mean to be alarmist. Behind every word he said represented a painful lesson for the mercenary group of gods and ghosts. After some communication, Su Yan's Hyperion and the flagship Sun, Moon, and Star of the mercenary group of gods and ghosts also broke away from the fleet and flew towards the surface of Kanglongsing. Not long after, the two flagships also came to the surface one after another. At this time, Su Yan was able to clearly see the surface of Kanglongsing. On the surface of Songlong Star, huge trees with a height of 100 meters can be seen everywhere. Some trees are even towering, and their huge bodies even form a small ecological area. Looking down from a high altitude, this place is completely a wonderful fairyland planet. But Yi Huang also warned Su Yan that the more beautiful the place, the more dangerous it is. These plants use this harmless appearance to confuse their prey. When their prey let their guard down, they attack. Under such a lush jungle, an unknown amount of blood and remains have been buried. We try to find an open space for the airborne. The plants here are too lush, and if you land here, you will likely be caught by those plants in the air. 99, Yi Huang didn't say a word, all of which represented the painful lesson he had come here last time. And Su Yan did not refute, and silently followed behind Yi Huang. At this time, Yi Huang must be more professional than himself. But at this moment, a familiar voice sounded in Su Yan's mind. "Ding, the sign-in location is detected, Kanglongsing. Do you want to sign in? Sign-in system activated?" Since he entered the Devil's Triangle, his sign-in system has stopped moving. Unexpectedly, at this time, the sign-in system was actually triggered. So, Su Yan also decided to sign in. "Sign in." I hope to get the blueprint of the V-shaped Yamato cannon this time. Ding, the sign-in is successful. Congratulations on your successful acquisition of 1000 Salamander Space Warriors, Dragon Flame Bomb blueprints, and 100 boxes of Dragon Flame Bombs. Space Marines. After Su Yan saw the sign-in reward, she couldn't help but be overjoyed. Unexpectedly, I actually drew a Space Warrior from the Salamander chapter. Needless to say, the strength of the Space Warriors, every Space Warrior is an existence of one enemy on the battlefield. The appearance of the Salamander chapter is tantamount to giving Su Yan another weapon in his hands. Ding, 1000 Space Warriors have been arranged in the dormant cabin, and can be awakened to fight at any time. Now is the right time for them to wake up. Looking at Kanglongsing in front of him, Su Yan also showed a smug smile on his face. What about mutant plants? I don't know if they can continue to maintain their powerful appearance when they encounter the dragon fire bomb of the Salamander chapter. Thinking of this, Su Yan also waved his hand. Awaken all the Space Marines of the Salamander chapter and prepare for battle. While there is still time, let the Space Marines of the Salamander chapter go to the armory to collect the Dragonfire bombs. The Dragonfire bomb is a special kind of bomb. These bombs will explode directly after hitting the enemy, and the built-in fuel will cause them to spray violent flames to burn the enemy. On the Songlong star, which is full of mutant plants, there is nothing more suitable for dealing with these mutant plants than the Dragonfire bomb. Brother Su Yan, we have found a suitable airborne location, are you ready? 99. In the communication channel, Yi Huang's voice was also heard. And Su Yan also replied immediately, ready to airborne at any time. After all, Su Yan also brought his own spacesuit and weapons. DG, you stay in the sky, ready to meet us at any time, receive. Equipped with armor and protective gear, Su Yan put on a tactical helmet. Picking up a Kriebel sniper rifle, Su Yan hangs it behind his back. Then, Su Yan picked up a chainsaw sword and stood at the hatch door. The hatch is open. The high-altitude airflow blew head-on, and behind Su Yan, the salamanders of the Salamander chapter wearing green power armor were also ready to go. They were equipped with the Berserker Chainsword and Bolter, in addition to a flamethrower. The door of the Sun-Moon star on the opposite side was also opened, and Yi Huang, who was wearing tactical armor, also saw Su Yan. Yi Huang's eyes also showed a hint of surprise when he saw the Space Warriors of the Salamander group behind Su Yan. This is a ground troop he has never seen in the documents. Is this another trump card of Su Yan? But at this time, Yi Huang could no longer think about it. Yi Huang waved his hand, and the members of the Ghost Mercenary group behind him also jumped down in tactical power armor. When in midair, the tactical power armor also ejected exhaust gas from the back, buffering the impact of falling for many mercenary members. But just as they landed, a large number of vines burst out from the ground. Seeing this scene, Yi Huang suddenly screamed badly. Not good. It's a hit. Yi Huang also understood at this moment why there is such a large open space here, just enough for them to land. It turned out that this was a trap set by those mutant plants, deliberately luring them to land in this place. In an instant, countless vines intertwined into a green sea of plants. The members of the Gods and Ghosts mercenary group were entangled by countless vines, and the vines slowly dragged them into the ground. When the energy of the tactical power armor is exhausted, it is time for them to die. Damn it. I was careless. At this time, Yi Huang also frowned. Unexpectedly, I am still being calculated by these mutant plants. Boom. At this moment, a dragon flame bomb exploded directly among the countless vines. The terrifying flames directly caused those vines to retreat. Action! Su Yan gave an order, and many space warriors were airborne. The Salamander battle group, wearing green power armor, decisively took out the flamethrower. At the moment of landing, the terrifying flames spurted out like a dragon, and all the surrounding vines were swallowed by the flames. More and more Space Marines of the Salamander chapter landed on the ground. With flamethrowers in hand, they devoured all those vines at every step. One of the Space Marines was holding a bolter, and a Dragonfire bomb was fired. Countless vines were swallowed up by the flames, and from among these vines, a member of a mercenary group of gods and ghosts was liberated. Seeing this, the space warriors of the Salamander chapter also stepped forward immediately. "It's okay. Can you fight on your own?" The Space Marines of the Salamander chapter also showed their kindness. "Yes, Zhao." For the members of the Ghost mercenary group, they also tried their best to save them. And the rescued member of the mercenary group of gods and ghosts was also slightly taken aback, seeing the big hand stretched out by the other party. After thinking for a moment, he also grabbed the big hand of the space warrior. The space warriors of the Salamander chapter also rescued the members of the Ghost mercenary group one after another. Seeing the powerful fighting ability of these space warriors, Yi Huang couldn't help but envy for a while. Originally, he thought that his mercenary members were already considered powerful beings among the ordinary Xinghai races. But in front of Su Yan's Space Marines, they seem like a weakling in need of help. Yi Huang has not felt this feeling for a long time. At this time, the space warriors of the Salamander chapter had burned all the mutant vines around them. Standing on this scorched black land, everyone could not help but feel lingering fears. Especially the members of the Ghost mercenary group, they are very clear, if not for the help of these space warriors, it is very likely that the current self has been buried deep in the ground by these vines, and can only wait for death to come. "Thank you." One of the mercenary members also sincerely thanked him. The space warriors of the Salamander chapter also said enthusiastically, "As allies, protecting your safety is what we should do, boss." Those guys on the opposite side look pretty good. After Yi Huang landed on the ground, the members of the mercenary group also gathered. After getting along for a while, these mercenary group members also have a lot of goodwill towards the space warriors of these Salamander chapters. These space warriors have extremely powerful strength, but even so, they have no pretense to treat ordinary people. You must know that generally strong people like them have temperaments more or less. But the space warriors of the Salamander chapter are different, their tempers are relatively mild. After getting along for a while, these mercenary group members also have a lot of goodwill towards the space warriors of the Salamander chapter. Su Yan landed on the ground and looked around. The dense sky trees almost covered the entire sky. The surrounding bushes are extremely dense, and a large number of plants crisscross. Among them, I don't know how many mutant plants are hidden in it. "Brother Su Yan, thank you very much for your soldiers, otherwise my soldiers would probably suffer a lot." At this time, Yi Huang also came over. For this ambush, Yi Huang also sighed. Sure enough, it is not an easy task to get this 5-star treasure. Although his mercenaries are equipped with tactical power armor, this kind of tactical power armor is expensive, and after wearing it, it can more than double the strength and speed. But in the face of the elusive mutant plants, no matter how powerful the equipment is, it is powerless. And Su Yan is also polite. Since the two fleets have signed an alliance treaty, they should naturally help each other. According to the coordinates, we go from here. It will take about an hour's journey to reach the coordinates. After opening the astrolabe coordinates, Yi Huang also told Su Yan the specific coordinates. Seeing this, Su Yan also nodded. 047 under his order, the Salamander chapter armed with a flamethrower began to attack the virgin forest in front of him. And Yi Huang was not idle either, he commanded his mercenaries. The members of the Gods and Ghosts mercenary group also cheered up one after another, followed behind the Salamander battle group, and began to move towards the target location. Not long after, they came to a tree in the sky. The flamethrower fuel of the Salamander chapter was almost consumed at this time. "We've got about the same fuel consumption and we'll need to hike through this jungle." From the beginning, Su Yan knew that their flamethrowers wouldn't last long. Now, they have to really face this primitive jungle. A drop of liquid fell from the sky and landed at Su Yan's feet. Su Yan looked at the liquid on the ground, then raised her head and looked up. Who would have guessed that on the sky tree above them, several black cheetahs with a body length of 2 meters were staring at them? Roar! A black cheetah suddenly let out a roar. The same roar sounded one after another in the surrounding jungle. Beasts big and small have responded to the call of the black cheetah. Boom! At this moment, the black cheetah that was roaring was directly killed by a member of the ghost mercenary group with a laser gun. The huge body of the black cheetah fell from the sky, and then fell heavily in front of him. Several black cheetahs on the tree were immediately enraged when they saw their companions die. Roar! With the roar of a wild beast, several black cheetahs also rushed towards the members of the ghost mercenary group. In the face of such a situation, the members of the ghost mercenary group are not afraid at all. Before, they were so embarrassed because of the ambush. In such a head-to-head confrontation, the members of the ghost mercenary group are not weak. Whoosh! 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 They raised the laser guns in their hands, and a large number of lasers were intertwined in the air to form a firepower network. Before those black cheetahs jumped in front of him, they were already penetrated by a large number of lasers. After a few muffled noises, the black cheetahs also landed in front of him. Seeing this, Yi Huang immediately said, "Let's get out of here, this is probably the habitat of the black cheetah." From the stance of the few black cheetahs just now, it is enough to show that they have entered the habitat of black cheetahs. These creatures generally act in groups. The few black cheetahs he killed were probably just sentinels in their group. Now that the sentinels have been killed, it is time for their main force to arrive. At this time, Su Yan looked around. In the dense jungle, pairs of green eyes stared at them stubbornly. The killing intent of the beasts is constantly attacking them like a storm. We've been surrounded. Su Yan looked around and saw that a large number of black cheetahs had surrounded them. Some black cheetahs even jumped up on the big tree next to the sky and watched them from a high place. Seeing this, the members of the surrounding gods and ghosts mercenary group also became solemn. I don't know how many black cheetahs there are. If there are hundreds of them, they can't bear it. But when they were still hesitating, Su Yan waved his hand and attacked decisively. The first strike is strong, and the second strike suffers. I saw the space warriors of the Salamander chapter raise their bolt guns. For a time, a large number of dragon flame bombs poured out. Bang! 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 A large number of dragon flame bombs exploded in the jungle. The flames swept the entire jungle in an instant, and the black cheetahs in the jungle also collapsed at the moment, attacking the crowd. They are very fast, and their sharp claws allow them to travel back and forth between tree trunks. The powerful explosive force made them turn into afterimages and shuttle through the jungle. Roar! At this moment, a black cheetah directly rushed through the DBCG blockade and attacked a member of a ghost mercenary group. Seeing this, Su Yan also had psychic energy all over his body, ready to rescue him. But at this moment, a burly orc rushed directly over. I saw him throw out a fist, and the fist smashed the skull of the black cheetah with a strong wind. The next second, the black cheetah flew out like a rag bag. The rescued mercenary member also quickly thanked, "Thank you, Captain Airmao." The orc did not speak, and then, another black cheetah broke through the blockade. Another orc also showed amazing power. Seeing this, Su Yan couldn't help but sigh. It seems that in Yi Huang's team, there are still a few strong people. After some battles, many black cheetahs were also wiped out by them. Fortunately, these black cheetahs are not numerous. If it was doubled, they would really be overwhelmed. At this time, many space warriors from the Salamander chapter also came to express their condolences in front of the wounded. For the Salamander chapter, these black cheetahs pose no threat at all. The attacks of these black cheetahs can't even leave a scratch on their power armor. But the gods and ghosts mercenary group is not good. Although they are elite in combat, they will inevitably be injured in such a melee. Even the two powerful orcs touched the claw marks on their shoulders. With their physical fitness, these injuries can heal quickly. Don't worry, we will protect you from now on. The space warriors of the Salamander chapter also treated the wounded very gently. This made the wounded of the ghost mercenary group almost burst into tears. In this indifferent star sea, they have never encountered a Salamander battle group that is not only powerful, but also very gentle to others. The wounded, while the other beasts haven't reacted. Let's go back to the ship first. Fortunately, they all drove the ship over, and the ghost mercenary group also sent the wounded back to the ship for treatment. In this case, letting the wounded continue to move forward is nothing more than killing them. After the wounded were settled, they also moved on. But just after they left, vines appeared one after another on the ground. These vines entangled the corpses on the ground, and it didn't take long for these corpses to be swallowed up, leaving only a pile of dead bones in place. Immediately afterwards, the soil on the ground began to wriggle, and all the dead bones were swallowed by the soil. In this primitive jungle, anyone could be a predator. In a short time, this battlefield was cleaned up by various predators, and there was no scene of fighting at all. At this time, Su Yan and Yi Huang finally arrived at the target location. In front of them was a bottomless cave. Su Yan took out a glow stick and threw it down. In their field of vision, the glow stick slowly descended, eventually turning into a light spot and disappearing into the darkness. After seeing this result, even Yi Huang's face became a little ugly. This cave is bottomless, who can guarantee that something exists in it? And Su Yan glanced at the bottomless pit, and also looked at the people around. They are all here. If they don't go in, everything they have encountered before will be in vain. What's next? Send someone down to investigate the situation? Yi Huang also asked Su Yan, and Su Yan shook his head. No, now we don't know the situation below. Going down alone may encounter the danger of position. Then how do we get down? 99. Yi Huang also looked at Su Yan. The corners of Su Yan's mouth rose slightly, and there was a burst of psychic brilliance around his body. How to get down? Of course, use his psionic power to go down. Gravity control, light gravity state. For a time, everyone's body became as light as a feather. Bureau G. Psyker? After feeling the change in his body, Yi Huang was also a little surprised. Unexpectedly, Su Yan is still a psionicist? Yi Huang is very clear that their blue star humans want to awaken their psionic energy, and compared to those unique psionic races, it is simply difficult to reach the sky. He has traveled through the Qinghai Sea for so many years, and it took a lot of hard work to obtain a psychic energy seed in the inner sea. Eventually became a psionicist. But Su Yan has not yet entered the Qinghai, and has become a psionicist? Not only that, but his psionic power seems to manipulate gravity. Such a level of psionic power is not comparable to ordinary psionic powers. Moreover, the psionic energy bursting out of Su Yan's body also proved that he was not the psionic energy that he acquired recently. Yi Huang couldn't help but look at Su Yan, and the shock in his eyes couldn't be added. What the hell is this guy going through overseas? To have such a powerful force at this time. But at this moment, Yi Huang could no longer think about it, and Su Yan directly controlled everyone to jump into this bottomless pit. The figures of everyone continued to descend in the darkness, but because of Su Yan's gravity control, their descending speed was not fast. I don't know how long it took, they finally discovered a fluorescent light. Hey, how deep is this bottomless pit? According to the speed of our descent, it is already close to the center of the earth. Boss, is the 5-star treasure you said really here? It is here that the reaction of the treasure astrolabe is getting stronger and stronger. Seeing that the coordinates of the treasure in his hand also glowed faintly, Yi Huang couldn't believe it. But the astrolabe in his hand is telling him all the time that the treasure is at the bottom of this bottomless pit. At this moment, Su Yan also reminded everyone, we are going somewhere. Gravity lifted, boom. With a muffled sound, everyone fell to the ground with their feet on the ground. When everyone stepped on the ground, the plants on the ground seemed to be stimulated. The fluorescent grass under their feet emitted a very soft light, and then the light began to spread around. The entire underground world began to glow at this moment, and the glow of the fluorescent grass also illuminated everything around it. And Su Yan looked up at the entrance of the hole where they fell, standing here and couldn't even see the exit. The entire underground space is very huge. Su Yan did not expect that there is such a huge underground space in the underground of Kanglongsing. The Great Thousand-Star Sea is full of wonders. I didn't expect that there is such a huge space under the Songlong star. Even Yi Huang couldn't help being attracted by this magical underground world. I saw that he took out his treasure astrolabe. On the treasure horoscope, a pointer also points to one of these directions. The treasure is in that direction. Yi Huang also pointed to one of the directions and said, and everyone looked at the direction he pointed. The huge underground space can't see the end at a glance, and it seems that they still need to move on. The two teams also cheered up and began to move in the direction Yi Huang pointed. However, at this time, both the salamanders and the mercenaries of the gods and ghosts mercenaries had to lift their spirits. Because in this strange underground world, I still don't know what kind of danger will be encountered. Now they go deep into the ground and can't get ship support even if they're wounded. So now they have to be cautious and cautious. They keep going in the direction of the horoscope. After a while, they felt that something was wrong, and the energy concentration in the air was increasing. Yi Huang and Su Yan, the two psionicists, were the first to feel the strangeness in the air. Because the psionic energy in their bodies began to feel excited because of the continuous increase in the energy concentration in the air. Not long after, a huge mushroom forest appeared in front of them. Fluorescent mushrooms with a height of tens of meters stand in this underground world. Su Yan and Yi Huang stepped forward and looked at the fluorescent mushrooms in front of them, and there was a hint of surprise in their eyes. It's actually an energy mushroom. It's a pity that these energy mushrooms have already grown up. Energy mushroom is a special plant that contains psychic energy. Usually only found in extremely energy-rich areas. Its rarity is also known as a 2-star treasure. However, energy mushrooms are only suitable for consumption when they are young, and adult energy mushrooms can grow to a height of tens of meters. It is precisely because of this that the energy contained in it is also greatly consumed and has no value at all. Yi Huang touched the energy mushroom dozens of meters high in front of him, and he was also sighing. Sure enough, the 5-star treasure location really lives up to its reputation, and this energy mushroom forest alone is enough to prove its value. Going forward in this place, there are definitely creatures exuding huge spiritual energy, otherwise these energy mushrooms would not be able to grow here. Looks like we've come to the wrong place. Looking at the energy mushroom forest in front of him, Yi Huang couldn't help but look forward to it. Even in the inland sea, it is difficult to see an energy mushroom forest of this scale. This is enough to show that the treasure ahead is even richer. With this energy mushroom forest as a guarantee, everyone was in high spirits, and the pace of progress could not help but speed up for a while. Sure enough, not long after, they encountered a sea of plants and flowers again. Hey! This flower is a sunflower worth 3 million stars. Boss, I found a star grass here. There are many around here, and the total value is 5 million star coins. I also found moonlight flowers here. This moonlight flower can be sold for a high price on the black market. Look, this energy bean is almost 100 years old, and one energy bean over 100 years old is 1 million star coins. At this moment, many mercenaries of the God Ghost mercenary group seem to have stepped into the treasure pile, frantically putting those precious plants into their pockets. In this sea of plants and flowers, most of the plants are extremely rare plants on the market. And, because of the environment, these plants are in very good condition. However, Su Yan was not deeply attracted by these rare plants in front of him. In terms of the preciousness of plants, these plants are far less precious than the tree of life on his ship. What makes Su Yan even more curious is why the underground energy concentration of Kanglongsing is so high. After a while, everyone's packages were also filled with rare plants. This wave alone is enough for them to make a fortune. Yi Huang couldn't help but smile when he saw the happy expressions on the faces of his fellow members. The 5-star treasure is indeed well-deserved. We continue to move forward, saying that there are more treasures. Although the value of these rare plants is high, it is far less than the value of a 5-star treasure. These things in their hands can only be regarded as an appetizer at most. After all, Yi Huang also looked at Su Yan next to him. Brother Su Yan, we are going to make a fortune this time around, and this is still just the peripheral area. There are so many good things in the outer area alone, and the things in the core area will not let us down. 5. After tasting the sweetness, Yi Huang was also very excited. At this time, Su Yan looked at the excited Yi Huang, but his heart became more and more calm. 5-star treasures are not so easy to come by. The more this time comes, the more you have to be vigilant. The team continued to advance, and soon, they came to the end of this underground space. At the end of this underground space, a huge bronze door with a height of 100 meters appeared in front of them. After seeing this bronze door, Su Yan also flashed a hint of surprise in his eyes. Above the bronze door, there are a large number of quaint characters. Seeing this, Su Yan frowned slightly. If only Lin Qingyue was here at this time, she might know what the ancient writing on it means. The location of a 5-star treasure should be in this place. After all, Yi Huang also walked towards the bronze door. Whoosh! At this moment, an afterimage attacked Yi Huang with lightning speed. Yi Huang also responded quickly and took a step back. Along with it, a short metal spear collided with the metal door, and the fire suddenly splashed. Yi Huang's eyes also became dangerous. The mercenary next to him reacted immediately, and also fired at the place where the spear had just been shot. For a time, a large number of lasers landed directly on that place. But at this moment, the laser bullets that were originally fired, as if they had encountered some barrier, were directly bounced back. When the mercenary members saw this, their expressions changed. Then, everyone flashed to the side. However, the reflected laser bullet still grazed the arm of one of the mercenaries. The surface of the tactical power armor also showed traces of charred black. Hiss! When the mercenary looked at the scar, he also had lingering fears. Fortunately, he flashed fast, otherwise if the laser bullet hit him, even if he was wearing tactical power armor, he would not be able to take a few hits. Everyone looked at the place where the laser bullet had just bounced, and for a while they didn't dare to act rashly. And Su Yan narrowed his eyes and waved his hand. Shoot that spot. 99, receive. The space warriors of the Salamander chapter also stood up immediately, and they raised the bolt guns in their hands to aim at the place where the laser bullet had just bounced. Hit down. 35. The Space Marines of the Salamander chapter who received the order also aimed their guns down. Boom. The dragon flame bomb was fired directly. Immediately afterwards, the dragon flame bomb exploded on the ground, and flames shot out. The powerful impact directly knocked a figure out from behind the wall. Su Yan also narrowed his eyes slightly after looking at the creature that was rolling around on the ground a few times. When the creature in front of him showed his figure, everyone realized that he was wearing a scale armor and holding a black shield, which looked like a lizard man. It was Yi Huang who just attacked him, and Su Yan didn't panic. Turn on the thermal imaging scanner. Su Yan doesn't believe it. This guy is the only one hiding in the dark. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.